Another 10%? What will it take for the Phoenix housing market to come down another 10%? And why am I saying 10%? Well, let's look at all the information today. If you remember a few weeks ago, I shared the Goldman Sachs prediction talking about how 4 major US cities are going to see a 2008-like housing crash, and Phoenix was on the list. So let's talk about what they're predicting and what would actually need to happen for us to get there. So refresh our memories. The Goldman Sachs or the Fox Business article, there were a lot of different places that reported on this, but Goldman Sachs predicts 4 U.S. cities will suffer a 2008 crash in home values. And mainly what they said is overheated housing markets in the Southwest and Pacific Coast, such as San Jose, Austin, Phoenix, and San Diego, will likely grapple with peak to trough declines of over 25%. So where are we at today? Because we all know that home prices have come down over the last 8-10 months since May of last year. And where do we need to be in order to hit this 25%? So let's take a look at median prices. I've referenced this lately, so this is probably not new to many of you who have followed my videos, but today we're sitting at about $410,000 as our median home price, and we had peaked back in May at $475,000. So the change from $475,000 to $410,000 is roughly about 14-15%. That's why I'm saying we would need to see another 10% to get to this 25% decline that Goldman Sachs is predicting. So what needs to happen for us to see another 10% decline? What indicators should we be looking at? If you're not new here, you know that I follow the Cromford report, which has a lot of great data and information for Phoenix real estate. They've been looking at the housing market here in Phoenix since 2001. So not only do they know it well, but they also have a lot of historical data and trends to reference back. And they say that there are 4 things that would need to happen in order for us to start seeing this decline, a 10% drop going forward. So let's take a look at what they say and look at where the trends are. The first thing that the Cromford report says is we need to see rising or above normal inventory in Greater Phoenix. And you guys, our inventory is declining. It's not rising. It did rise last year, and that's when we saw these big drops in median home prices. So they're accurate in saying that's what would need to happen, but right now it's not rising. We're actually seeing a decline since, when was this? October, things started to taper off in terms of our inventory, and then starting this year, we haven't gained any ground in terms of inventory. We have only declined. So we're not really seeing that as a factor. The second thing that they say that we would need to see is declining or below normal demand. So let's look at where our demand stands today. And they have this really great demand index, or the CMI, as I always talk about. It takes away supply and demand, or extrapolates supply and demand, and helps us understand the heat of the market. And so they have both supply and demand broken out on this graph here. The red is the demand index, the blue is the supply index. And let me see if I can zoom in here. Let's see where our demand is, and you can really see where normal is, right? It's that kind of yellow section in here. So demand is definitely below normal, and what they're saying is we need to see declining or below normal demand. So we do have below normal demand, although if you follow these dots, it goes down and then it goes up because we've been seeing some recovering demand. So it is below normal, but keep in mind that our supply levels are also below normal. So we don't have this offsetting rising supply and low demand right now. So this low demand isn't really affecting us as badly as it would be if supply was rising. And also, if you take a look at where things have been in the past, we're below normal historically, but we're not seeing like some huge drop off in demand. And lately it's been recovering. Now, it could totally go back down, that's for sure. But for right now, the trend is going back up. So we'll have to see where that goes. The third thing they say that could happen or would need to happen is rising price reductions. So let's see where we're at with our price reductions. Price reductions are not rising. They are declining from their peak. So this is another thing that is not taking place, not moving us in the direction of another 10% decline. Again, anything could change, but in the short term, this is not a trend that we're seeing. Now, it's not dropping off as drastically as we saw there, but it's certainly not going up. So we're not really seeing those price reductions on the rise. And the fourth thing that they say is rising days on market. So let's look at where our days on market are. Those are also declining. We were at 56 days on market at the beginning of the year, and now we're at about 35 as median days on market. So that is not rising either. So out of these four leading metrics that the Cromford report says we would need to see in play, going different directions, in order to see this 10% decline, we're not seeing that. And what I find to be interesting is that when you look back at when we started to see the price declines in Phoenix, right, starting in the summer of 2022, all of these things were true. We did see rising or above normal inventory. So let's go back. As we started to see rising and above normal inventory, we started to see price declines in the median home price or sales price. And then declining or below demand. As we started to see this declining demand take shape here and really start to come down, again, that's the summer of 2022 where we started to see these prices going down. The third thing, rising price reductions. When did that happen? Again, summer of 2022, we saw these rising price reductions. And that's also when we started to see the median home price come down. And finally, days on market, again, started to rise in the summer of 2022, which coincides with our median home prices coming down. So all of these leading indicators that they're talking about are correct. They've been proven to be true. And at this point, in the short term, we don't see them going in that direction. They're actually going in an opposite direction. Now, for how long that stays, I always say this, there are a lot of factors out there that could totally change the direction of where we're at today. It's not as simple as just looking at these numbers and knowing it to be fact, because what is true today, by 2 weeks from now, we could see a whole new trend because of something that affects the markets, the economy, mortgage rates, all of those various things. However, it's reasonable to expect at this point in time that we're not going to see a 10% drop anytime soon. So hopefully that helps you understand where we're at today in the market. And these are all indicators that we need to watch going forward because they'll help us be prepared if things take a turn in a different direction. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. If you liked this video, hit the like button and consider subscribing. I'd love to see you as part of the community, and check the description below for some links to some helpful information that I have there. Thanks, guys. I'll be back on Monday with a market update. I'm Caitlin McKegg with the Desert Dreamers team.